Oh,
Did
I
you
didn't say
give
that.
her a tip to touch her body?
No, I was a saying, let's assume that. I didn't say that that happened. It was behind my cigarettes. I say, let's assume that I wanted to touch her body and give her a tip and walk to the counter, walk to the side of the counter, and she met me there for me to give her a tip. That would only, it's not even sensible. I understand it's your determination. It's the board has the complete authority and discretion to determine whether I go back to prison for life or not. I understand that.
I hope the juice was worth the squeeze, because you heard correctly. He is facing life in prison. You see, he committed murder back in 1983, was given a life sentence, yet paroled 7 years ago after serving 35 years in prison. And by all accounts, he did well until now. And now he is facing a return to prison to complete his life sentence. I'll unpack it with more details at the end.
And it reads, you were arrested by the St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Office, April 1st, 2024, charged with a criminal act of sexual battery. You pled to an amended charge of criminal mischief, May 13th of 2025. You were sentenced to 6 months parish prison, 5 months with credit for time served, 1 month suspended, and 1 year inactive parish probation. You have since filed to rescind your guilty plea in court, and you had a August 5th, 2025 motion date. So we'll talk about that in a minute. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty, ma'am. Based upon the sexual battery is not guilty. And I would urge the board to consider the guilty plea of misdemeanor criminal mischief based upon the circumstances that will be discussed here today.
Let me hear from your family. We'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Ms. Betty, what is it you'd like us to know? All right, while she's trying to figure that out, Ms. Erlene, your sister, Ms. Erlene?
I am not his sister. First of all, my name is. I
Thank you.
was supposed to be on another case, and
Okay.
it done screwed up, and I'm very upset.
I'm sorry.
I know it's not your fault, but I'm not his sister. I do
Okay.
have a brother.
Thank you.
Wow.
So I wanted to call her and find out what case she's here for. Mhm. So is Miss Betty, can you hear us? You have to unmute your microphone in order to speak. All right, apparently she's having some technical issues, so we'll go ahead and start with our conversation, Mr. Miller. So tell us, we have, what happened in court when you went back in August? You did a motion in early August?
Yes, ma'am. And what it was is the fact that there was some kind of communication or understanding concerning the parole officers who were conducting the preliminary hearing. And as a result of that, my witness was not allowed to come in. He said he would talk to her in the parking lot and got her statement. I attempted to admit into evidence an affidavit from me appearing to you all. And so I filed a motion to the judge concerning me not having the hearing based on time, basically. Because what I've been reading about the rules from the board is that I'm allowed to have witnesses, to present evidence, to cross-examine, and to have a prompt revocation hearing after the preliminary hearing. So since May up until now, we get into September as a result of me refusing to sign the form because the officer claimed that, the parole officer claimed that he didn't have a copy to give me. And the rules is that he's supposed to give me a written notice of everything. So the judge, what he did, he was like concerned because him and the district attorney and myself, we always have sidebars before court open. And based upon what will be presented here today, this is how the misdemeanor criminal mischief came to play, because the district attorney didn't want to go forward the cases because of some credibility problems. I tried to get him to go on record with it, but they say they can't do that.
All
None of
right.
the judge asks you all to give him some type of indication when you're going to hold a hearing and whether or not my plea would result in me serving a life sentence all over again as a result of the misdemeanor criminal mischief. And I don't really understand his order myself, and I don't know that whether or not y'all could have answered that. That's why we're here today, I assume, because I know you can't
But
tell.
we're here today to determine whether or not you violated condition number 4.
Yes, ma'am.
And we've been provided, a multitude of evidence, different reports and different documents, as well as videos that indicates you did violate condition number 4.
Video.
Regardless of what happened in court.
Right, exactly. Right. I understand. It's your determination. It's the board has the complete authority and discretion to determine whether I go back to prison for life or not. I understand that. But the judge was just concerned what's going on after me being in prison 15, 16 months. And after I pled guilty, he just really don't know the process, I guess. And so
So let me, we do have Miss Betty on the phone now, so we'll take a break and we'll hear from her. So
Yes.
she's on the phone, she's not on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Betty, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the volume up a little bit so he can hear you. What would you like us to know?
Oh, I just was wanted to explain, just talk about his character and stuff. And,
Okay.
his,
Go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, because I know he's been incarcerated 35 years, and he's been out now 7 years, and he's been doing great. He's a real influence to the people in the community. He helps out with a lot, and it's just that I feel that they should revoke his parole, because I really don't know everything else that's going on, but I know he's been in his community. He's doing well. He's been out 7 years now, and we have been doing a lot of great things, together. And I call myself, I'm the first lady in prayer, because he's out there and he's doing assist a lot of young children, the young men that out there helping them stay on the right path. And I said, like the situation that's going on, I don't know what really what this parole hearing is about right now. That's what the character is talking about. That he has that rehabilitated and he's doing good out here for himself, and he's been working and doing different things in the community. And I know everyone in the community misses him, his family misses him. We all just need him back in his community, because there's a lot of things that he can do in his community.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for connecting with us and sharing that information. We do appreciate it.
And I don't know what was going on with my phone, but I kept on trying to unmute, but it wouldn't let me say you still couldn't hear me.
Well, I'm glad you were able to join us by phone. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay. So you tell us what happened at the Oak Ridge gas station.
Yes, ma'am.
And remember, we have a video.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. The video was one of the crux of the hearings at court, and it came as a result of this alleged victim, making a 911 call 6 hours after the alleged incident, which was at her home after she got off. And there's evidence where she stated that she told her manager, her coworker, what had happened. I don't know whether or not the board received affidavits from Mrs. Brianna Nicole regarding that she was not notified as her manager on that day of such an assault in a public place as such. And it was strange for the victim to leave the place of business, then tell no one in the store what had happened. But if there was anything that happened in the store, the employees was there. Remember, the lady also mentioned in the hearing recommendation section 3, where they stated that she said, I cursed her out. In the police report, she said that she came, I asked her that I would like to touch her body to see how soft it was. And I was willing to give her a tip for such. As a result, she stated to the officer that I came to the side of the counter where the entrance door at and reached my arm over the counter, attempting to place money in her pocket. Whereas I didn't place it in her pocket, she stated I reached and grabbed her private part. However, going back to the statement, he offered her a tip as a result of touching her body. As he walked to the side, she met him there. Just assuming for the moment, Mrs. Renaza, if I was to make these kind of lewd statements towards this alleged victim, that I wanted to touch her body and I wanted to give her a tip as a result. Remember, in all the reports, she said she was uncomfortable with me coming into the store, making comments towards her all the time. But if at this point, I offered her a tip to touch her body and I walked to the side and she met me there, that does not sound like someone who's uncomfortable with somebody who's making type of remarks or trying to touch their body. Why would you meet somebody if you're uncomfortable with him? Is you behind the counter? Now, one of the initial statements is that as I was paying for my items, I have here, excuse me 1 second, Detective Carrero, days after. His affidavit for arrest warrant states, on April 2nd, Detective Sergeant Daniels, a member of the St. Bernard Sheriff's Office assigned to the criminal investigation, conduct a follow-up investigation in reference to a sexual battery which occurred at Oak Ridge gas station located 5815 East Judge Perez Drive in Violet. On April 3rd, Detective Sergeant Carrera met with the victim, an employee at Oak Ridge, advised Detective Sergeant Carrera that on April 1st, while working behind the counter at the Oak Ridge gas station, black male customer later identified as Troy Miller, date of birth, wearing a black hat, black shirt, entered the business, began making an inappropriate statement towards her. The victim stated that she was uncomfortable and advised Troy to stop, which he complied. He purchased an item, left the business. Short time later, he entered the business, advised that while continuing to work behind the counter, he attempted to place money in her pocket, but she refused. She refused. But in the statement to the officer who came on the scene after 6 hours, that came to her house, not to the store, but to her house, 6 hours later, while she was on the phone playing with the phone, she stated that she met me there for the purpose, I would assume, for me to touch her body and give her a tip. Because remember, she stated that I wanted to give her a tip as a result of touching her body, and I walked to the side and she met me there. However, the biggest dispute in this whole matter dealing with this lady who has since been fired, for selling alcohol products to teenagers, who was also accused several times of stealing out the cash register, and which I have on.
About her, this is about you.
Yes, ma'am. And on this, I have the thumb drive from the detective in the interview room where she stated that at the time that it occurred, it occurred at 10:30 to 12 o'clock. I'll never forget it the day of my life. I had a reservation to the international airport in which I was driving for Uber at the time. The gas up and got cigarettes. And what happened was, as I began to leave, I noticed she did not provide the cigarettes in the bag of the other items I had. And so when I went from the counter, if you see on the video, I left from the front counter. I didn't go out no door. And she's saying I went out the door and come back in. That's a lie. The video don't show that. I left from the cash register, went to the side where the cigarettes was located. Hey, you forgot my cigarette. She got an attitude, talking about, oh, you don't need it. And I grabbed the cigarettes out of her hand. That's what I'm pleading guilty to. Other than the sexual battery, that I reached my hand, which is criminal mischief, on that private property of that store owner by that counter, inject them cigarettes out of hand. The money was in my hand. The change fell on the floor. And if you look at, you will see where she drunk back and looked down why the money fell out of her hand. That's what she was looking at. So,
All right, Mr. Miller, Mr. Freeman has a question for you.
yes, sir.
Okay, so concerning all of this, so you're admitting that to prostitution, you were solicited for sexual.
No, sir.
Say you
No,
wanted
sir.
to touch her.
No, sir. No, sir. What it
That's what it
was,
sounds like here. I mean, that's what you're saying.
no,
Did
I
you
didn't say
give
that.
her a tip to touch her body.
No, I was a saying, let's assume that. I didn't say that happened. It was behind my cigarettes. I say, let's assume that I wanted to touch her body and give her a tip and walk to the counter, walk to the side of the counter, and she met me there for me to give her a tip. It's not even sensible. Because
How has your conduct been since you've been there?
since I've been here,
Been in that prison?
who?
You had a charge, did you?
I've been on edge. I tell you no lie. I've been on edge. I've been on edge because of this. I've been diagnosed. I got a decision to make whether for them to take my whole prostate. I understand. I'm just saying. I've been on edge here.
That's no excuse for bullying.
No, sir. That's right. But
Mr. Barra has a question.
yes, sir.
Mine goes off of Mr. Freeman's question. I wanted to know what you have to say about the cell block video that shows you harassing other inmates that they were reporting at the prison saw. They claim you were bullying, you were putting your hands on them, and
Wow.
you ended up getting put in lockdown over that after the hearing.
Yes.
What about that?
Well, there was no hearing, sir. They supposed to have dismissed those charges, and I need you to get the major on that one because that report's supposed to have been gone. Yes, sir. Anyway, I was one of the guys who always try to be sanitized. We was on a medical tier. Like I said, I fractured my back. You see this thing I have on, and I was sick, and now and there were men literally shitting, excuse my language, poo-pooing in the shower area. And I'm the only one that gets up every morning. They can show that. I'm GIing like I did in Angola and even Elaine Hunts. I was an orderly, and that's what I did. And that's what I was about, protecting germs and different things, because they had people with holes in their bodies with infections coming out. And that's what that came from. That's why I said I was on edge and facing all of this here. That was the only reason for that write-up. That's why I need a major on that. Because
You saying you never got it locked down over that?
yes, that they did. Yes, sir.
You ended up locked down?
Yes, sir. But the charge report had been dismissed based upon the appeal. So
And what about they saying that you made your own set of rules for the cell block for other people to follow? Who could watch TV? Who could eat first? Who could eat second? What place they could eat?
what is that again?
During your bullying, you were making your own set of rules for the cell block, you and one another guy.
How could I do that? And security is right there. No, sir. I can't. I don't have no control over that. They pass the food through the hatch. I can't do that. That's
Okay.
impossible.
All right, what about when they say you wasn't taking your prescribed medication while you were in custody and that they were finding medication stashed in different places?
Medication?
Yeah.
Oh, I had 2 Tylenols. That's what that was. That wasn't no.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. That's all the questions I have.
I'm gonna, Mr. Miller, I'm gonna ask for executive session for a moment so we can discuss some confidential matters. So just stand by. Can you call the roll?
I'll second.
Freeman,
Yes.
Renata,
Yes.
Barrow.
Yeah.
All right, stand by. It's 12:18. We'll be in executive session.
Thank you. Well, what you mean if they want them? I'm calling. I need.
All right, Mr. Miller, we are back in session. Well, I'm moving to come back into regular
Second.
session. It's 12:20. And without objection, we're back in regular session. Mr. Miller, I think I've heard enough. I've reviewed enough of the information and evidence that was provided to us. You pled in court to criminal activity. And based on the video and the information that I've seen, I do find you guilty of violating condition number 4. And my vote today is to revoke your parole. Mr. Barra,
I concur with Ms. Renata for the same reason.
Mr. Freeman.
I totally agree. I concur.
So, Mr. Miller, your parole is being revoked today. We'll send you some information. You will have an opportunity to request re-parole. But we'll send you some information on how and when that can occur. Good luck to you. We're going to sign off from St. Bernard at 12:21.
And what a haywire parole revocation hearing. And like I said, I hope the juice was worth the squeeze. Now I gotta look, we have the appeal, and we have, I don't know if you're familiar, how familiar you are with this channel, but this is not the first time that we have seen someone get revoked for and then have to go back and face life sentence. We had a porch pirate once. He actually got busted from a Ring camera stealing an Amazon box off his neighbor's porch. He just could not help himself, and he faced the parole revocation board. So, I was going to say this is the craziest way to get revoked and face life in prison, but no, we've covered it before. Maybe I'll share that. You guys want to see that? It only has 20,000 views, which means I guess like we're almost at 100,000 subs. Most of you haven't yet seen it. So maybe we'll play that in a second. But first, let me get some things off of my chest on this case, because this is just wild. I mean, this is a perfect example of why he needed to do whatever he could do to get an attorney. I don't know what a parole revocation attorney would have cost, but there are some good ones out there. We have seen them, and that maybe would have saved him, because keep in mind, he had 7 years of doing well. I mean, I simply would have approached this as he was in for life. He got out. He's paid all his dues. He had not gotten in trouble. He had a job. He's never had a dirty. He's by all accounts a success story. And with as bad as he did in this case, and even his prison of him bossing around and being a bully, I kind of, I don't. If he was an orderly in Angola and he expects things a certain way, and now he's in jail, I can kind of see how maybe, but I get it. They have the cameras, and he's not doing well, and he needs to do well in there. And that's a strike against him, which I don't know. And they said he can reapply for parole. I don't know how long he has to wait by law, but, and can you imagine he's facing life and he didn't like flinch? Like, how is that possible? This guy has like nerves of steel. But I gotta tell you, I think if he didn't, because what happened was he has this thing with the woman behind the counter, and I don't think this is a regular sexual battery thing. I just don't. You can kill me for saying that I'm wrong here, but I almost feel like this was, a flirty thing going on, and maybe. But when he took the cigarettes, it crossed the line, and she called the cops on him, and then I think that's more of what happened. I think, but I could be wrong. But he just didn't. What he did is confess in front of the parole revocation board, and he was called out for it. They're like, "Wait, so you just confessed to?" And it's just wild. And then you throw in there with the wrong person on the Zoom call, and she's like, "I'm pissed off." And it's like, wow, like put things into context. This guy has his life on the line, and you're pissed off that you have to wait on hold. Okay. I mean, there's just the whole thing, this whole hearing, it was like a circus. It was a circus. I'll share it with you. And thank you, Sir Richard. I called out to Sir Richard on this hearing. You find anything? And sure enough, he found an appeal. And here's what it was. In 1983, at an intersection on Royal and Esplendid, it all started with purse snatching, by the way. Right? It's not like he's a sex offender, and that's why you would assume, like you would say, no. It started with purse snatching, but it turned into murder. But so after a purse snatching from a pedestrian, a passing cab driver was fatally shot by the perpetrators when he attempted to stop their escape. If you can imagine whatever was in that purse, a couple of dollars, and the taxi driver, why you would put your life on the line over that, but he did. He tried, he was the hero, and they shot him. Edward later confessed to participating. Now, his co-defendant pointed the finger at him and testified against him, right? So who knows if he actually even did murder him? It was the first person to snitch got the deal, and you know, but neither here nor there. That's not what his appeal is about. His appeal is whether he could have gotten capital murder because they were saying, oh, the crime already happened, now he's running away. It's not the theft, murder for theft. It was a dumb appeal, of course, right? You get what I'm saying? But anyways, it wasn't that he didn't even say that he didn't do it. But Edward Williams later confessed to participating in the purse snatching and implicated Troy Miller as his accomplice who fired the shots. Troy Miller is the one who we just saw hearing. A search of Miller's residence revealed a box of shells, the same type of which had killed the cab driver. After William and Miller were indicted for first-degree murder, William pled guilty to manslaughter and testified against Miller, was found guilty as charged and a life sentence imposed. It's from this conviction, the sentence that Miller has appealed. And as we know, he lost his appeal and did a lot of time in prison, 35 years, got out, and now is revoked. And I want to thank a special Annan. He said he wants to remain anonymous, but has been pointing out hearings that I should cover. And if you ever see hearings that you think I should cover, email me. It is really helpful. And so thank you, Mr. Annan. And let's jump into the Porch Pirate hearing. I think it's worth seeing that hearing and just to tie these two together. Two hearings, revocation hearings, where people were facing life in prison and messed up over. So
I took the Amazon package off the neighbor's porch. It's a blighted property. I've never seen anybody move in there, no vehicles in and out. The grass is 2 feet tall. It's got trash in the yard. I'm thinking this was abandoned package in front of a blighted property. So I took the package. The package had been rained on. The package had been rained on the day before. The package was there that morning, the day before, that morning, and that evening when I took the package. I opened it to see if there was an.
That's not yours. Why would you take the package, period?
Because it was raining on it. And I didn't think anybody lived
When the
there.
deputies came to your house, you didn't know nothing about it at first. Then you go get the
No, I
stuff.
called the police.
The packages were open, correct?
I opened the package, yes, sir.
Okay, and you're no longer at the Parole project, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Anything you'd like to say, Mr. Logan?
Sir?
Anything you'd like to say before the panel votes?
Yes, sir. This isn't like I went across the street or anything. This is, 30, 40 feet away. I sit out there every evening. I've never seen anybody at this property. No, I've never seen any vehicles in and out of there, no lights on. The people told, when the police officer came, I told him I had the package. I said, here it is, it's intact. I said, I didn't know anybody lived there. He said, I could see why you thought that, And in fact, he told me, he said, I'm not going to write you a summons until I talk to my supervisor, because the property looks like it's blighted, abandoned. It actually rained on the package. I was trying to give the package to whoever owned it. I wasn't stealing the package. I have a good job. I make good money. I didn't need the package, but it was sitting out there in the weather. And what I did was, now that I think about it, is actually stupid. I didn't have theft in anywhere in my thoughts about it. It's just a package been sitting there, and I've been watching it for 2 days. Nobody been in and out of that house ever that I know of. This is going, it was stupid on my part.
You explained all of this to the Parole project?
Yes, sir.
And they
Yes,
still
sir.
kicked you out?
Huh?
And they still kicked you out?
Well, I was moving out anyway. I was already moving out prior to this. I put down a deposit and the rent on the trailer. You know, I was already moving out of the project. You know, I have a job. I have a good job. I work as a mechanic. I make good money. I've been out since January 10th, and I've accomplished a lot. I've got a job. I've got transportation. I've bought tools for my, I got a job as a mechanic. I didn't own a screwdriver. I bought almost $2,000 worth of tools so I could do my job. You know, I bought clothes, all my necessities. Then I'm fixing to move into a trailer. You know, I paid a $600 deposit on the trailer and $600 first month's rent on the trailer. And then I have money in the bank. You know, I mean, it's not like I needed it. I wasn't stealing this package. I didn't need this package. I don't know what's in that package. You know? And then I opened the package to see if there was an invoice in it, to see if there was a phone number, something to call for whoever did own it. And when there wasn't, I called the police. I called Baton Rouge City Police and told them I had the package. You know? I called the police to report the package.
Sir, in the report, it indicated that you had taken one of the items in the package and put it in the trash can.
No, that was an empty box. That was an empty box. The package was in 2 boxes. And when I opened it, I took the one box and threw it away and had everything in the one box. You know, because it had stuffing and stuff in it. You know?
The apartment that's across the street, is it an area where most people come in and out through the back door? And not the front door?
No, it's a dead end driveway, and we got houses on this side, a driveway, and then houses on that side with the little carports where you park your cars. There was never any cars over there.
Okay, because we have the father of the resident there called and was very concerned about it. So someone has been living there for a little over a year.
Well, I've never seen anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it wasn't. So
and then it looks blighted.
Yeah.
The grass is 2 foot tall. There's trash all in the yard. There's old car parts in the yard. I didn't know anybody lived there.
Video that we saw, it didn't show all that. It did not show all that.
Doesn't show that at all.
Yeah, it doesn't show what you described.
Nice.
And yeah, that it's blighted. It doesn't, because she has a camera. You are aware that she has a camera on her front door.
Right.
And it doesn't match what you're saying. The picture we got doesn't match what you're saying.
The video also shows that there's a car in that carport.
There was that night when the police came.
No, sir, there was the day you took the package.
Yeah, that was a car here.
No, not
Look
at
at
the
the
time.
video.
We're
sir.
looking at it.
Huh? At the time I took the package, you're saying there was a car parked there.
Looking at the video right now.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see a car parked under that carport at the time.
Okay. I recommend executive session to discuss confidential matters related to this case.
Second,
Second.
a roll call? Yes.
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 Mr. Lober, we're going to go into executive session to discuss matters of a confidential nature. We're going to pause this hearing momentarily. We'll resume as soon as we finish our executive session.
Okay.
Let's call back to order. The time is 8:48. Panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Lober, quite frankly, you ought to learn to tell the truth. Been doing this for 35 years. You told the truth. I'd have thought about giving you a break since you're back in so much time.
But you've done nothing but tell lie after lie after lie. My vote is to revoke.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Ms. Wise?
Mr. Lober, at the end of the day, you just do not touch other people's property. You can sit there for 5 years. It's other people's property, it's not yours. You could have called the police and said, I noticed this package has been sitting there. What do y'all think I'll do about it? But it's somebody else's property. There are laws against that. So for those reasons, and you admitted in the hearing that you did take the package, something that don't belong to you. And you are in one of the most esteemed programs in the state. So you know right from wrong. My vote is the same for the same reasons.
Mr. Lober, you received 2 votes to revoke. My vote likewise is to revoke. Your parole has been revoked today. Good luck to you.
Excuse me. What happens if this charge is dismissed?
Nothing, has nothing to do with us. This is an entirely separate procedure. Doesn't matter. What happens
I'm going back to prison for the rest of my life
Well,
because of this.
there are consequences for your actions, Mr. Lober.
I got until 2053.
Good luck to you, sir.
And just like that, he is now also back in prison for life. And I couldn't do what Mr. Mirabella said. There are consequences for your actions. I mean, in this one, I could never get over it. I just couldn't. I couldn't. And he was initially locked up for first-degree armed robbery. As far as I know, he never even killed someone, but he just couldn't help it. He couldn't help it. It's like just the name. He just needed to know what was in that box, and kind of like what is it? What's the movie with Wilson? Lost on the island. The what is it? Sort of what a Castaway. I wonder what was in those Castaway boxes that he was hoarding. Always like joking, like, but I've always wondered what was in those boxes. I wonder what he found in that box. Like, you put it in the comment section what you think ended up costing him his life. The other guy, he got like a squeeze out of it. Here, I don't know. I maybe it was a pet rock. I've always assumed it was a pet rock that was in that box that he just gave his life up. Now, I assume too that he will have a chance at reapplying for parole, and when he does, we'll cover it here. It'll be in the return of list. But there it is, 2 folks who were given a second chance and blew it over nothing. And with that, I'll let you go.
I understand. It's your determination. It's the board has the complete authority and discretion to determine whether I go back to prison for life or not. I understand that.
I'm going back to prison for the rest of my life
Well,
because of this.
there are consequences for your actions, Mr. Lober.
I got until 2053.
Good luck to you, sir.